Good morning, everyone. Shivani, good morning.
Good morning, Calvin.
Okay, so I'm online. I know we had some challenges in terms of the online connection. Uh, so are we ready to start? I see you're sharing screen already.
No, not as yet. Waiting for you, and then I'll start.
Okay, so you have something up on the screen?
No, I don't have anything on the screen. I'll open it up shortly.
Okay. Okay, probably I am sharing screen. Okay. So let me know when we're ready to start.
Ready. We're ready.
So first of all, let me apologize for the late start. We had some technicality in terms of connecting to everyone. So welcome to our fourth webinar from the Maurice Academy of Design and Craft. And this morning we are talking about design thinking. You know, one of our other webinars, we spoke about design, which is in truth and in fact, product design and how you go about developing the whole concept of product design. Today we are looking at design thinking, carrying the concept of design into a more organizational or more project-oriented structure, where you are taken through the phases of developing innovation in your businesses. So we are moving from product design into innovative designs within your business as a business concept, as an engineering tool, as a mechanism to solve problems. So we are now expanding the conversation of design through design thinking. So therefore, Shivani will go through with you this morning the whole process of identifying the problem, how you identify the problem, how you go about defining the problem, how you think through and try to solve that problem outside the box, outside the norm, outside of the normal process. So therefore you'll be unique. How you go about sampling or prototyping or scaling up that or trying out that particular concept or design. And how do you now test it for the market or test it for whatever process, whether it's an engineering process, whether it's a management process. So normally we as creators, when we think about design, we think about basically one thing, product design. So we are going to explore the other innovation of design this morning. I would like to welcome, and you will know her quite well, for those of you who went through our initial webinar with Shivani. We'd like to welcome Shivani Seunarine back with us again this morning to carry us through the concept of design thinking. Welcome, Shivani, and it's all over to you.
Thank you very much, Calvin. Good morning. Good day to everybody. Welcome. So we're here to discuss design thinking for the creative industry. So I'm just sharing my screen a little bit and we'll take it forward. It's a nice presentation. Of course, if you have questions, feel free to put it in the chat. You could ask at the end, turn on your mic, anything you would like to see. So we want to begin design thinking for the creative sector. And many of us here, you may have a business, you may be looking to get into a business, and you want to understand what really is this concept of design thinking. So let me start by really stating design thinking is a mindset. Many of us, we may want to start up a business and we just went into it. It may have worked. It may, you need to improve on certain skills. So let's see if design thinking could really work for us. So the whole point is, what is design thinking? Design thinking, it is a process that utilizes empathetic, creative, innovative, and analytical skills to provide solutions to an established and understand audience, an understood problem. What do we need to do with design thinking? We need to keep the end user in mind. Who are we producing our products for? Who are we servicing? Because design thinking is not only for a product, but I mean, you're part of the service industry also. It is a cycle that can be repeated. It involves 5 steps. So as we go through slide by slide, I want everybody to understand that design thinking is a mindset. It involves 5 steps that will really help you to improve or to increase productivity in whatever we do. And what are the 5 steps now? That's what you keep asking yourself. What are the 5 steps? The first step is empathize. We must understand the problem. Once you get into a business, and I'll show you some examples of different businesses that took this approach, a design thinking approach. Empathy, empathize. You must know who are your clients, who are your customers, what are you providing. The second step is to define. Once you understand the problem, and understanding the problem really involves speaking to people, conversing with clients, conversing with the end users, you define the problem. And defining the problem involves analyzing. You have to do a lot of analysis. You have to interpret. And of course, a lot of us here on the chat here would talk about planning, a favorite term for many of us in projects, plan. Step 3 is to ideate. Persons tell me that's my favorite thing. I like to imagine, I like to research. And of course, I love the third point, which is to ponder. Whatever we do, especially in business, in this sector that we are involved in, we have to keep on pondering. Is our product working? Is our service working? Now you might think it's working now, but you know, something could change, as we have seen right now, how this entire market with COVID is changing how we do business. So we always have to ponder, we always have to come about with new ways of doing business. And that's the step 3 is such an important aspect for everybody. You know, you must brainstorm, which is ideate. And then step 4 is the prototype. You apply creativity to create. We have to create. That's what we're doing. We are creating something. It may be something new. Some persons here involved in crochet, wine business, food, all different types of sectors. But it's a business, it's a product that you have created. And step 5 is to test. So whatever product that you are in, that you are producing, that you are making, if it may be fashion, as we keep saying, if it may be a bottle of wine, it may be greeting cards, different products. You want to see if the design thinking approach could really work for us, which is a 5-step approach, which involves empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So getting in a little more detail now. What really is empathize? Empathize is getting into the mind of the client. Who are we producing our product for? I always remember, whatever product it is, don't think it is a small product, it is for somebody to use, because this is the end result of a business, is to supply someone with something that they want. They may not even know they want it, but when they see it, they say, oh, this could help me, this could do something. But the only way that it will succeed is by us understanding how the product is going to meet the needs of the end user, the client. Picture what is wanted and what is needed, what people want, what people need. Then you have to define. So whatever you came up with by empathizing and understanding the needs of the client now, you define. You define it, you put it into a problem statement, as we'll see down the road just now. And then the third step is to ideate. So you have a problem, because you're speaking to your customers and they say, okay, we want this because we have a problem and we really want to solve it. We come about with a vision. We be creative. Ideate. Ideate and empathize are my two favorite aspects of design thinking. Because I find many times when we do empathize and you listen to end users and you listen to the client from whatever industry it is, whether it is in a business or it is in your organization, in a process environment, you learn so much more. You get so many more ideas that you will definitely be more successful if you look at the first stage, which is empathy. And then step 3, as we are saying, is the ideate, where you brainstorm. And brainstorming is a technique where you just come up with all the different ideas. You just write it down and you have different tools that you could use in how to ideate. But brainstorming, oh, my product should look like this. No, it shouldn't look like that. And you just start to write down. You just start to document. That's ideate. And remember, ideate is to research, is to ponder. Right? Don't think by pondering you're not doing anything, but you're coming about with probably a better way of doing something. Step 5 is the prototype. You must prototype. And a prototype is it could be a working model of something. It could be a design, something on paper, but it's something that people can see. That's what a prototype is, something that people can see. So it may involve physical designing, but it's where you're transforming now your vision into reality. So that's what a prototype is. I had an idea, I went through the process, I ideated, and now I have to have a prototype. I have to test it. And before I test, whatever was my vision, I'm actually now going to put it into reality. I am transforming the vision into reality. And then I do step 5, which is to test. Review the design for flaws. Utilize feedback to make revisions. So you do a prototype, and of course, when you finish a prototype, you must test. Very important to test your product. Testing your product is the same customer. I go to different customers. I ask for advice. They see, they point out something. But, we in the Caribbean, we have people that we don't want to go back. So when you do tests, and somebody says, oh no, there's a flaw, you could do it this other way, etc. You don't want to go back to the ideate stage. And that is a flaw that we have. So when ideas come to you after you prototype, you have to remember you may have to go back and redesign again because it is not meeting the needs of the customer, and definitely it will fail. So, part of the design thinking approach, it is really, you go through step by step, yes. But at any point when you get feedback, you may have to revisit the previous stages that you have already done. So we test. So what I want to do now, everyone, is to take an example of the creative, from the creative sector, and actually walk through these 5 steps, right? These 5 steps. So I did it for a wine business. Persons might say, I love wine. Local wine business. And the first, what was the first step again, right? I hope everybody remember. The first step of any business that you have, and if you are following a design thinking approach, the first step is to empathize. Empathize. So empathy. Do we know the end user, the customer? So for this local wine business, somebody and I, we were doing this, and we came about with these ideas as a real business, right? And so I was asking a couple questions. Do we know the end user? Do we know the customer, right? So the end user is the customer. Do we know the tastes and the preferences for flavors and look, etc.? Did we really go and speak to the client, not to a client, to anybody, a customer, and find out what they want, what they like? Did we do a comparison of international wines? Or are we just going to say, okay, well, I have a trade and I could make a bottle of wine and I could try to sell it? So did we really practice empathy? And more, persons will say, well, I could have probably done this stage a little better. So empathy. For example, I myself, I do not like sweet wines, but I prefer dry wines. So you may need to understand that is what your client wants. Besides the taste of the wine, I love the feel and the shape of the bottle. But the wine business They will only know this when they speak to different clients or when they speak to different customers, right? So it's not only about the taste, but it's about the feel of the bottle and the look of the bottle. Did we do a feasibility study of the wine business to totally understand the customer needs? So empathy is so very important. We may be creating a product and we did not really understand what the customer, and I'm saying end user, I'm also saying customer, I'm also saying client, but we mean the same thing, who we are producing for. Do you really know who you're producing for? You might say to yourself, well, we're producing for anybody who want to buy the product, right? Great, you might say that, but we need to narrow it down a little bit. We need to know who are our clients. It can't be every and everybody. Every and everybody may not want your local wine because they have different preferences. But the point is, how are we going to get them? So empathy, and I want to continue with empathy. Empathy continued. A common mistake when you are building something new, right? When you are building something new, is assuming you already understand your customer base and skipping over the research phase. And I've seen this many, many times. You know, many persons, they believe they are very good at their product, at their skill, I should say, and they are. I have met many persons who are very, very good at their skill, whether if it's in the creative industry and all different types of businesses, even in a workplace. You know, they are very good at their trade, whatever they do. But they did not understand the customer base. They skip over because they think they really understood it. You may know your core customer, but innovative new ideas are often born by exploring extreme users. And I want to focus so much on that term, extreme users. And extreme users are the power users who push your product or service to its limits, or people who you've never considered as a customer. For example, you might say, well, Calvin doesn't like wine, he only likes whiskey, so he is not for this market. But don't think like that. Converse with persons who do not drink wine, but maybe whiskey drinkers. Why do they like whiskey? You have to find out. So these are the extreme users or power users, or these are the people who, you know, who are not, you don't consider that they will purchase your product. But find out, listen to what they have to say. By chatting with them, you may realize that they drink this for many reasons. The taste and the feeling of nostalgia. They may drink a whiskey or for some different reason. There are so many different reasons why people do something. Can we use these ideas now to create a wine that they may now appreciate? Now, I may not have thought about it from that point because I'm not considering that whiskey drinker or that scotch drinker as somebody who wants wine. But when I chat with them, when I talk to them, I realize why they drink it. It's for a different taste. And I try now to create my drink to meet that. And all of this is simply being done because I can understand the client just by conversing with people. We often say many times the best ideas come about when you talk to people rather than in a textbook or, you know, in a classroom environment, but just conversing. It's I love the topic is known as the art of small talk. Yeah. Define. So the second stage, after I empathize and after I know, okay, I'm going to speak to this client, who I'm speaking to, why am I speaking to them? I define. What can be the new problem statement? Because it's a problem statement for the wine business that can meet the needs of the customer. It is based on the 4 W's. Who is it for? What is it for? Where is it for? And why? Persons want a drink similar to international wines at a reasonable cost. This is what, when we did our analysis with the business, this is what we came about with. There are persons, when we did the whole feasibility and, you know, you did your power users and your extreme users, you realize there are persons, they will purchase the local wine, but they want to compare it to the international wine, and they want it at a reasonable cost. Some of them want it at a reasonable cost. They are persons. Persons want a drink that meets their taste and do not mind paying the high cost. So there are two different clients right there. We say one that they're going to buy a bottle of wine if it is of a high cost. Then there are other customers who want high quality, high international standards, but they want it at a reasonable cost. So you have two clientele right there. Persons want an experience when they drink your wine. That's what our analysis showed us. They want, we have many pumpkin wines. I saw with this wine business, cassava wine. They want an experience. They want to feel that when you're drinking something, oh yeah, it reminds me of something from before. So anything we do, especially with our products, it is to provide an experience, right? And this came about only by understanding our problem statement, only when we define. So you're defining, you're coming about all these different things that you realize people want for the bottle of wine. Of course, the third stage is the ideate. And, when you look at the screen now, ideate, what you are seeing people just sticking up things on the window with Post-its. And that is what ideate is where you research and you ponder. Many persons, I found too, they don't want to ponder because people believe pondering is wasting time. I've seen that. And that is our downfall in terms of making us truly innovative people. Truly innovative people will think and ponder and go back and redefine and come back with a better idea all the time because improvement is always there. So ideate, you just start to brainstorm. There are many different tools how you can ideate. It's a whole, this design thinking approach, you have tools that can help you to do it very, very well each stage. So ideate, I'm just showing one where you could just brainstorm. You just have sticky notes and everybody just writing down things on their sticky notes. So exactly what is the ideate stage? It is where we generate many different ideas for what our product or service should be. So when you're ideating and you're brainstorming now, you're coming about with different ideas. A bottle of wine to meet the needs of customers who prefer high-end product that looks like an international wine. Yeah, I saw one when she did it. It was very, very impressive to me. I had to look 2 times to realize that this was a local wine maker. It was very, very impressive. A bottle of wine to meet the needs of customers who prefer high-end product that looks like an international wine. A bottle of wine that speaks to a customer about an ingredient that they remember from their childhood. Just by this analysis, you realize in speaking to people, we realize it, that some persons want that. They want to go back and say, oh, this reminds me of a taste that I had. That's the experience talking there. They want an experience. And ideate again, a bottle of wine that captures the customer because of the shape and the size of the bottle. There were persons, when they look at the bottle, it was tall, it was thin, and they were like, wow, the bottle really captured them. So when we ideate, we are forming so many different ideas to sell a bottle of wine for somebody. So many different types of wines came about from this whole analysis we did. Many different shapes, bottles, where we had to go back, go back again. And of course, after you ideate, what do you have to do? You have to prototype. A prototype is an example if you want to look at it like that. You have to create different designs and tastes of wine. Yeah? Sometimes you may see people going out to the supermarkets. I've seen that where you go out and you do tests and you just share with people, get ideas. Yeah, you have a wine, you have to know what will people prefer. Show them the bottle, show them the packaging. Just converse with persons all the time. I've seen this is an area that we need to do a lot more work in to really do more prototypes. And prototype is just not say, okay, right, good, we made the bottle, we made the drink, and that's it. But you need to go back now to your end users, find out where they are, and just try again. And when somebody says, well, I find the wine is too sweet, you may have to go back and revisit again. So it's prototyping. Prototype, create different designs and tastes of wine. Create different bottles for different markets. a prototype, a very, very good example to do. And of course, the last point is to test. You must test your product with the customer, right? And that's why we were saying you may go now, when you have your prototype, you go to the supermarket, or you just go to offices or wherever it is, you know, that people will allow you to come, and you test your product with a customer. You ask for feedback. Have we really done this with a lot of our products? Yes, some persons may have done it, and I have seen that already. The market is really, really, really growing, and people are becoming more and more innovative, which is very, very excited to see how the local industry can really prosper. So test your product with the customer. Ask for feedback. So you're asking people, what do you think? You know, give me some feedback. What do you think? Do you like the taste? Do you like the bottle? You're asking questions. Something I've found too that we need to do a lot more of is more data collection, where you could probably just send out a survey to persons. You know, it's a different market now. And when you test, you may even realize that you have to revisit the ideate stage and brainstorm again. That's what you may realize you have to do. You have to go back now and check what you have done. So important, the stages are very, very important. Yes, it sounds a sequential, but it is a non-sequential mindset, because at any point, as we keep saying, you may have to go back and correct. The concept, as we are saying, is an iterative approach. It's also something in project management, is an iterative. Whatever your product is, your project, you may have to go back and correct. And as I keep saying, persons don't really like to do that. We just say, okay, we come about with this drink and we go in and sell it now. But you did not test. And even if you test, you may have gotten some results, but we did not really correct it. We just went to market and we just sold our bottles. And some persons may make, some persons may not. So we want to practice the design thinking approach in how it is supposed to be practiced, which is you go through step by step. So I'm just going back again. You go through, let me just show it again. You go through empathize, then you define, then you ideate, then you prototype, and then you test. But at any stage, more ideas could come. Always remember, more ideas could be coming all the time. You're brainstorming. So even in ideate, I realize, no, I'm coming about with an idea, but I find I need to go back and talk to the client again. I need to find out if this will work. So I jump back to empathize. I jump back by empathize by calling the client. It may be simple like that, you know, because I don't want you all to think that is a major, major sequence that you have to do. Just jumping back, picking up the phone, because you may have already known the customer and the client, and calling them to get back information. So empathize. Why am I focusing so much on it? I'm really trying for us to see design can work if we do it effectively. And doing it effectively means, yes, we are going through the different stages from empathize to define to ideate to prototype and to test. But at any point, we can go back. And you will only go back is if you practice the approach of pondering, right? You ponder, is this working? Am I really going to be meeting the needs of the client? And one thing you also have to remember, at a particular stage, something in the world changed, as we know. Look at what's happening right now with COVID. It's changing. So our business, how are we going to probably go back and ideate and prototype again and test again? But it can be done because it's innovation. Once you are in the business field, you have to be innovative. That's what we hear that talk all the time, innovation. And that's why I keep looking at it from this point, a design thinking approach for innovation, a design thinking approach that will help us to be more innovative in our businesses. Because our business, many of our businesses really involves a product that we have to sell. It may be a service, you are in service industry, but some aspect of it may be a product. So whatever it is, you use the design thinking. So the different stages, everybody. And I want us to look at this, you know, that everything should gel so nicely with this couple lines here. The method of design thinking melds an end user focus with multidisciplinary collaboration and iterative improvement. And it's a powerful tool for achieving desirable, user-friendly, and economically viable design solutions and innovative products and services. So I'm going to say that again. The method of design thinking melds an end user focus. And, you know, I'm stepping on the term end user. End users, we keep saying, is your client, is your customer. The term is really a human-centric approach. Whatever you are doing, it is for somebody, with multidisciplinary collaboration. You know, you have to collaborate. It's many different disciplines, many different business acumens coming into play here, and iterative improvements. And is a powerful tool for achieving desirable, user-friendly, and economically viable design solutions and innovative products and services, right, if done properly. I want to just look at this now. Implementing design thinking for businesses during COVID-19 is something that you're always hearing about over and over. Well, it's COVID. What am I going to do now? And I underline this part. Design thinking is a journey of learning and discovery. So you have a business, you want to keep thinking of innovation. It is a journey, and a journey is continuous. It's continuous. It's a journey of learning and discovery. Am I discovering some new ideas? Am I doing something new with learning? Ask yourself the following questions. Will I survive during this period when there's no congregation? Because many of us have to sell your products at markets. We've done a lot of face-to-face markets, and there may be no congregation for a while. Will I be able to survive during this period with my business when there's no congregation? Will I be able to still sell my products? Are my products still in demand? So 3 major questions that you're asking yourself. This has happened, COVID, and we don't know how long, you know, that we may have that you can't assemble together. But we need to continue to be innovative, that our business will survive. And in thinking of the process, you may come about with a totally new business model. And this is why we're here. You know, you may want to bounce off ideas of us. Please feel free, you know, do that. Design thinking is a journey of learning and discovery. So will I survive? You're asking yourself this question. Will I survive during the period when there's no congregation? I cannot go to these face-to-face markets again to sell my products. Will I be able to still sell it somewhere? Because some people may still want it. Are my products still in demand? Right? Does people still want the jewelry that we are selling? Does people still want the crochet that we are selling, the bags? Do they still want a bottle of wine? People will still want, right? But we have to now become even more innovative, use the design thinking approach to rethink how we are doing our business operations. Because when we stop and we ponder, we will come about with so many greater ideas that you might say to yourself, why didn't I think about this all the time? Why am I now doing it this way? I have increased productivity because I stopped and I started to ponder. I did ideate stage. That's the stage that I did. Design thinking approach again. It involves, once again, connecting with your customers to find out what they require. What do people want? Start once again with the first stage of empathy. Always remember, we will succeed with creating a human-centered approach for our products and services. So a human-centered approach for our products and services. That's how we will survive when we say, what does our client really want? What do our customers want? As I said in the project management, where somebody was talking about it, they looked at rethinking doing pajamas to stay at home. I thought that was such a good idea. They were so very, very innovative. Persons were looking now for cocoa tea. A lot of people with cocoa, getting a nice cup, you know, looking at providing more home-based services, and it was just some good ideas. I also saw with the wine, persons, a lot of people are sending on WhatsApp, they are communicating, they are delivering, so it's quite good. It may involve, so design thinking approach, especially during this time, may involve rethinking new ideas and brainstorming. And when we do that, we get even more ideas, and we become even more innovative, and we become more productive, and you know, it just increases the scale for production and for new things. So keep prototyping and testing. Keep prototyping and testing. So I want to close with this slide, which is you must empathize, and empathize, as you see the heart, you know, that's listening to people, connecting with people. And this is why I love design thinking, as I said, so much, because it is a part that is really necessary. When you want to do business, you want to do succeed, you need to have that connection. So empathize, connection. And the second part is to define. And this is why you're drawing up, you're writing with a pencil, or you may write on your computer, however you want to do it. Then you ideate, you're thinking, you're brainstorming. And of course, you prototype. You prototype, you come about with a model. And after you prototype, you must test. So these are the stages of design thinking, everybody, from empathize to testing. And you know, to close off right now, before we take any questions or anything you all will want to speak about, this is not a linear approach, meaning you can go back. I can be at ideate, I get a new idea, I want to bounce it off with the clients, I go back to empathize, I call people. I am at the prototype, I am showing people, I'm looking at it, I realize this bottle of wine can't really work like this. Cassava wine, people don't want it, or whatever it is. I go back to ideate and I brainstorm again, and then I come back and I test. So whatever product or whatever service we are trying to follow, the stages, or you might say life cycle, but I call it a mindset. Empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test.
Thank you very much, Shivani.
Thank you.
I would like to compliment you in terms of how you broke out that whole process. And I would like to invite our participants to spread that out in terms from product. It can also work in the whole production process design. It can also work in terms of a business process design. So
Definitely.
I like how Shivani brought out the whole thing about COVID. And if I bring you through from product design, you may probably need to have another production design for your product. Okay, so therefore design thinking can take you through that process, and your process design may change for your business concept, because you may go from face to online, and then you'll have to work out problems like, how do you get payment? How do you do shipping? How do you organize your packaging? And design thinking is not trapped into one particular methodology, but design thinking can be used to solve any of the problems along your value chain, or along your ecosystem, along your business ecosystem. So we welcome you to ask Shivani further explanation, and just said that to let you know that we're not only talking about product design, and you can ask Shivani to further explain in regards to if you have a business design issue or product design issue. So please, you're welcome to ask questions at this time.
I'm not seeing any questions, man, Calvin. It looked like everybody is hungry or something, or what?
Well, it's more or less a comment than a question.
Right, thank you.
But yeah, but while you were
Tanisha,
going
yeah.
through the, yes, while you were going through the presentation, I couldn't help but think about the recent thing where one of the doubles companies decided to package their
Yeah.
doubles. And in using that innovation, I'm thinking now that they may even like it's come like they open a new window of opportunity, because I'm sure when all this is done, they may still have the on the road vending, but they may also continue having that in the store. So what they do there, they kind of widen their scope. So they capitalizing on everything. So because they were so innovative, I kept thinking, wow, while the customers couldn't come to them, they met the customers' needs in whichever way we could do that.
And you just pointed out the product process design. So you see how they change the way they package their product, how they presented their product. So
Yeah.
that shows clearly that you understand the concept of divine design thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see some remarks or questions.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Very clear, great presentation. Somebody like the idea of the testing, the part about the testing. So yeah, and I want to focus a lot on the testing too, ensuring that that we continuously test our product, because especially now, how we could become more innovative and go back and redesign. Somebody said, Joey, I really love the ideate stage. Yeah, Joey, me too. I think now more than ever, I need to use this design thinking model. Right. So Joey, definitely, I hope that you do call us if you want more information on it. Salima, especially for safety reason, testing is very important. Yes, definitely. Testing is very, very important for safety. There's so many different concepts will come when you use the design thinking and you test, and you might say, oh yes, it's not as safe. I probably did not meet some type of standards, some type of international standard or OSH standards, because you have to produce, you have to see if it is meeting your standards. So very, very, very true statement. Yeah, so those were some of the questions that we looked at. Any other questions, anyone? So I do hope that this design thinking, makes us think even more. Design thinking makes us think even more about our process in becoming more innovative, our products, our services, because whatever business, as we keep saying, that we do, that we have, you have some type of product, you have something that you are producing. Even if it is a service, you want to use design thinking to, am I giving a good service? If I am, I have a cafe or something, am I giving a proper service? So am I using the design thinking approach? So definitely, we want to look at it from that point.
Shivani, I see Luke has a statement here that probably we should ponder on a while. He said, in terms of the COVID Business Planning Committee, what are some of the things we should expect to hear from them as SMEs, even if it applies to design focus only? And I want to comment on that. So what the committee may come up with, maybe policy and regulations. They won't tell you, for example, if Shivani talk about a wine making or coal in a soap making, in a spa products, they won't tell you something that may be specifically for your area of business. But based on policy and based on regulations, you would have a remit now to apply this design thinking, to look at the elements that they provide you and to add value to it in terms of innovation. So for example, with the doubles vendor that we discussed a while ago, in terms of regulation, they may say, okay, you can sell doubles in these containers and you can package your doubles, but from a Ministry of Health perspective, these are the regulations. These are the things you need to follow when you're selling doubles in these containers. It must be this specific. It must be, the packaging must be environmentally friendly. They may give you regulations from which you can work. And then when you go back to your little business niche, you will see how, because design thinking makes you as an individual unique, So there may be plenty business doubles vendors selling their things packaged, but you may be unique in selling it particularly in a particular way that is innovative, that may be more attractive. So I guess the committee can only give you policy and regulation, and you have to go back and work with that with design thinking methodologies.
Definitely, definitely correct, Calvin. The committee will give us policies, and depending on the policy, what practice we may have to come about with is the ideate stage, where we may have to now brainstorm so many different things because a new policy or have come about. So definitely, very correct, very correct. So some of the regulations should be easy to apply and hopefully not frustrated to our process, I guess. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it is from a policy point, and then we are using the design thinking to ensure that we may come about with a new business because of the policy that they have discussed. Yeah. And the ideate and the prototype and the test and all the stages will be so very, very relevant. I see Colleen said, thanks Calvin for mentioning regulations, because that too have to be looked at. Yes, the regulations, new regulations. Yeah. Good. So I think those were some of the questions, Calvin.
Yeah, so I think, is it that we arrived at time? I'm seeing some more questions coming up or statements.
I feel that there's a reality that some business efforts will become obsolete in light of COVID, and so it is important to reinvent. Yes, Tanisha, reinvent, reinvent. Yeah. Some are already not planning to reopen. Yes, but even if you're planning not to reopen, probably your physical spaces, there are other ways that you can still continue with business. Where you may have to now look at an online medium. So there are many different ways to keep in business and new ideas, new innovation. Once persons say that they are not going to reopen, it means that they are not practicing the stages, because we can continue out our business operations if we become more innovative using the design thinking. We come about with new ideas, new brainstorming, new techniques, new ways of doing the business. Persons tell us, Colleen, want to buy the soap products, they want to buy spa products. So we may come about with new ideas, new types of soaps now, for COVID, a COVID
exactly.
soap, Colleen.
Exactly. But I want to go back to Luke, because sometimes it's not a situation of doom and gloom, but it's a situation that will have us think a little deeper,
yes,
or have us restructure, or have us combine a certain number of different approaches to come with a unique approach. For example, Luke, when you start a business, you start with a particular concept, and you may have a particular product design. But you know what? From immediately you start with that product design or that concept, you must immediately start rethinking to be advanced of the marketplace, because someone will be copying your product design or your concept, and for you to be ahead of the business, because eventually the marketplace will be totally taken up with your concept or your design. And for you to be ahead of your own business, you have to go back and think again how I could jumpstart another 5 years or 2 years, so therefore I would be ahead of the marketplace. So COVID is just a distinct period for all of us to revisit that redesign position. But all businesses have a redesign position. From the time you start, immediately as you start, you click a button for a redesign concept of your business. And Colleen may bear me out. If you're selling soaps, you always have to be ahead of the market, because you may have a soap making using DTPE. I don't know, I just saying, all right? You may have a soap using DTPE, and you realize somebody bring out a soap using DTPE, and then you decide, you know what, I'm gonna use black seed, or I'm gonna use shadow benny, or I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and immediately you will start to rethink your product line. So business is always in a position of innovation, and that's why I wanted this define it for you. It's not only product design, it's also production process design and business model design, because many of you are leaving from a face-to-face business into a virtual business or a blend of both. you know. So it's never doom and gloom, because Trinidadians, as the Commissioner of Police quite rightly said, very innovative. You discount, you go and you say it's a discount store, you buy
Yeah.
some bread and you say, you know. So Trinidadians are at top of the scale in terms of being innovative.
And I like Pauline, she mentioned e-commerce, Calvin. Definitely be going into e-commerce more and more.
Yes.
You'll see that. Huh? Yeah, new products and making to solve problems that came up in trying time, and it came about through clients' needs. Definitely, when you're talking about clients' needs. Correct. So those were some of the questions, Calvin. So I think we went pretty good.
Yes.
For more questions, yeah? For time.
So I think we would have given our hour, and certainly want to thank everyone for joining us through this webinar. And I'm sure we'll have many more. And I think there's a particular topic, Shivani, we should continue with and advance the conversation in regards to design thinking. Because I get a sense in the various webinars we had where people are very disillusioned at this time, you know. We don't want people closing down on us. We don't want people closing their businesses and feel there's no hope. There is hope, people. There's hope. There's a lot of hope. And we are here to support you, redesign, rethink, and refocus.
And
So
reimagine, Calvin, as you heard it, favorite word, reimagine too.
Yes.
And you know, as you're speaking about persons and keeping everybody going, you know, the design thinking, as you said, it is an approach that we definitely will elaborate with, and we are definitely here. But one of the other upcoming webinar, risk management, which you know and everybody will be, it's really going to help us in understanding risk management for your business, especially during this time, even more.
So true, Shivani. So thanks again, everyone. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Maurice Academy was always a pleasure. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.